Let's begin with the latest coming in from Kyrgyzstan, where the SAO summit is currently going on. Let's also take a look at what is on the Prime Minister's schedule for the day first. To begin with, at 9:30 a.m. in Standard Time, Prime Minister Modi will be arriving at the Ala Arka Presidential Palace of Bishkek. He will be meeting the President of Kazakhstan. And soon after that, this will be followed by a joint photograph of the head of governments of SAO member states. At 10 a.m. Indian Standard Time, there will be a restricted format meeting of the SAO leaders. Prime Minister Modi will also be meeting President Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus and President Batulka of Mongolia on the sidelines of this meeting. At 11:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, the Prime Minister will be a part of the extended format meeting of the SAO leaders. There will be signing of documents followed by a group photograph of the leaders of the SAO member states and the observer states. At 3:25 p.m. Indian Standard Time, Prime Minister Modi will hold his first bilateral meeting of the day. This will be with Iran's President Hassan Rouhani. At 4 p.m. IST, Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the India-Kyrgyz Business Forum. At 5:50 p.m., Prime Minister Modi will be holding his second bilateral meeting for the day. This will be with President Jinbakov of Kyrgyzstan. The meeting between the two leaders will be followed by delegation-level talks and is expected at 6:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. There will be signing of documents and exchange of agreements 40 minutes later. The Indian Prime Minister will enplane for Delhi at 9:30 p.m. IST. So this has been a very crucial summit for most of the Central Asian countries. As we all know, a lot has been on the cards for India, Russia and China. Yesterday also was a crucial day for India, since we witnessed two bilaterals between India, Russia, India and China. From trade to connectivity, counter-terrorism, much has been discussed during these summits. And what happens today will also be equally interesting to see. Of course, there has been no meeting or pull aside so far between India and Pakistan. Let's also go across to our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who's been closely tracking the summit for WION. Siddhant, a very good morning to you. Please give us all the details of what took place on day one. We also believe that India and Pakistan did not exchange any pleasantries, and there was no meeting between the Indian and Pakistani Prime Minister.
Well, right now I'm standing at the venue site where the summit will begin at 10 a.m. local time. And of course, on the first day, it was a packed day. The Indian Prime Minister met with the Russian President, with the Chinese President and with the Afghan President. The Afghan President bilateral almost ended at 12 a.m. local time. And then, of course, there were some off-record briefings in which the focus of the bilateral was the fact that India will be supporting an inclusive Afghanistan. And also India will be supporting any legitimate government which comes through democratic process in the country. But by and large, the bilateral with the Chinese president focused on how the strategic communication between both the countries has helped improve relationship. And of course, on Russia, the focus was on defense. Today will be an important day. There are 3 pull-asides which will happen, and 2 important bilaterals with the Kyrgyz president and of course the Iranian
Coming to those 2 bilaterals, Siddhant, as you rightly mentioned, one is going to be with the Kyrgyz president and of course the other is going to be with Iran's President Hassan Rouhani. What can we expect to emerge out of these 2 bilaterals?
Well, pretty important bilaterals. First, of course, with the Iranian leader, which will happen at 4 p.m. Local time. This is an important bilateral given the fact that how the Americans have now waived off the waivers for all the countries after their sanctions came into effect, and in a sense that is going to impact New Delhi in a major way, because New Delhi is one of the largest importer of Iranian oil. We know the last important foreign dignitary to visit India in in the previous government was the Iranian foreign minister who just came a week before the election results were announced on 23rd of May, and he clearly told New Delhi that it's time that both the countries should focus on this issue, Iranian oil imports, and of course connectivity, because through the Chabahar project, India is able to connect from Iran to Afghanistan to the Central Asian countries. So connectivity remains another big focus. But with the Kyrgyz president, India, of course, will be focusing on how to increase ties with this country. This is the second visit of the Indian Prime Minister to this country. He visited all the Central Asian countries in 2015. And defense, of course, remains one of the important pillar of this relationship. The Kyrgyz president was invited to India just 2 weeks ago at the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because Kyrgyzstan is the chair of SCO, and that made the Kyrgyz the leadership here very happy. And as the Kyrgyz envoy told WION, that it's something that they took very seriously, in a sense that they took it in a positive manner. And this was the last component of the entire day, when he will be given, the Indian Prime Minister will be given guard of honor, and there will be a bilateral, and we do expect substantive outcome from that meeting.
All right, Siddhant, there was also a trilateral on the sidelines of the G20. This trilateral was, of course, between India, Russia and China. What emerged out of this trilateral, and how has the SCO helped in pushing the G20 agenda as well?
Well, just 2 weeks from now, the G20 summit is going to take place, and it's now confirmed that the Indian Prime Minister is going to meet the Chinese leadership again, the Chinese President and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and they're going to meet in a format called RIC, the Russia, India, China, and RIC met last year on the sidelines of the G20 in Argentina. That RIC met after a gap of 12 years. So clearly, all these three countries are now focusing on making sure that the ties are strengthened, and they have more commonalities on issues such as trade, because remember, China and India are facing heat from Washington when it comes to trade issues, and protectionism is a key issue which will be discussed here at SCO, and we do expect when the joint communique is released at 2 p.m., it will be a strongly worded statement on the protectionism policies by some Western countries, which includes United States of America.
Right. Last but not the least, Siddhant, I'd like to ask you how India has strategically used the SCO to send out a very strong message to Pakistan. Please elaborate on that for us.
Well, India has been using all the platforms to make sure that Islamabad is isolated, and this year's summit, which is going to begin in just short while from now, just 1 hour from now, India is going to strongly raise this issue, cross-border terror. And yesterday, when the Indian Prime Minister met the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, India clearly told the Chinese that India and Pakistan, it's a bilateral relationship, and India did try to have good ties with Islamabad, but every time India had any kind of peace overtures, Pakistan derailed it. Also, a message to Islamabad that when it comes to terror and talks, they can't go together. And that was, in a sense, a strong signal that there is not going to be any kind of pull-aside meeting, as there were speculations, especially in Pakistani media, of a pull-aside. We also know that the Indian Prime Minister did not use the Pakistani airspace, completely avoided it, and took a airspace which went through Oman, through Iran and Central Asian countries, and finally he came here. So clearly, that is a strong message to Islamabad. Yesterday also, when the gala dinner happened and when the concert happened, both the leaders were present in the same room, but no interaction happened, no pleasantries were exchanged between both the leaders.
So far, no pleasantries exchanged between the leaders of India and Pakistan. That is indeed a strong message being sent out to Islamabad from New Delhi. Thank you so much, Siddhant Sibal, for bringing us all the latest. We will keep coming back to you since another crucial day of SCO still awaits. Thank you so much for bringing us the